principal here at West Oak Middle School. I just wanted to welcome everyone and let you know how honored we are that you could attend this morning's Veterans Breakfast and program.
School's 11th Annual Veterans Day Breakfast. Your faculty, staff, and students here at WOMS welcome you. It is our honor to host our annual Veterans Day Breakfast as a small token of appreciation for your sacrifices and service in defense of our great country. We owe each and every one of you all a debt of gratitude that we can only attempt to repay. From the parade deck to the flight deck, from the drill field to the battlefield, and for whatever capacity you serve, you have earned our undying gratitude and admiration for answering our nation's call for service. Every one of you have proudly served or are proudly serving. We would like to call attention to our honored guest, Mr. Luther Blackwell, who was just recently celebrated his 98th birthday. Mr. Blackwell is a Navy veteran of World War II, serving 4.5 years. He originally went to sign with the Army and was told he was too skinny and they couldn't take him. A couple of weeks later, he went with a buddy who was going to sign with the Navy. He was asked if he wanted to sign up as well. He told them that he couldn't because the Army had already turned him down for being so skinny. The Navy ended up signing him instead of his buddy, and he left that day to go to Columbia, South Carolina, and then on to Norfolk, Virginia. Unfortunately, he left wearing what he had on, which was an old pair of overalls, because he hadn't planned on signing that day. By the time he got to Norfolk, he was ready to put on whatever the Navy had told him to wear to get rid of those overalls and the nickname Farmer wore. Mr. Blackwell served aboard the USS Ford during World War II in both the Atlantic and Pacific theaters. On the day the Japanese surrendered, September 2nd, 1945, the USS Ford sat beside the USS Missouri in Tokyo Bay as the Japanese Declaration of Surrender was signed. It is an honor to have Mr. Blackwell in attendance with us today and to recognize him not only as a World War II veteran, but also as my great-grandfather. Thank you, Papa. For you that have served before us, and for you that are presently serving, you have left and set a very rich and proud tradition for all of us that will follow your lead and example for all to emulate and follow. No matter what uniform you wore, Army, Navy, Air Force, or Marines, we salute you.
Thank you, Dylan. At this time, I ask that you stand for our presentation of colors by West Junior ROTC, followed by our Pledge of Allegiance given to you by Mr. Cole Smith, our national anthem, and a performance by our West Oak Middle School choral choir, warrior choir, in the direction of Mr. Chris Olson.
Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and
America's White Table. The table honors the men and women who serve in America's armed forces. The table is round to show our everlasting devotion and concern for our fallen and missing comrades. The cloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their motives when answering the call of duty. The single red rose displayed in a vase reminds us of the life and the blood that was shed, and their loved ones and friends who keep the faith and await answer. The vase is tied with a red ribbon, symbol of our commitment and continued determination to account for our missing.
A slice of lemon on the plate is to remind us of the bitter fate of those captured and missing in a foreign land. A salt is to remind us of the tears endured by those missing and their families who still seek answers. The black napkin is a reminder of the isolation, deprivation, and cruel fate of our missing. The Bible represents the strength gained through faith to sustain those lost from our country, founded as one nation under God. The glass is inverted to symbolize their inability to share this evening with us. The chair is empty and tilted. They are not here, and remain so until their return and are accounted for. You are not forgotten so long as there is one left in whom your memory remains.
Our guest speaker today is probably no stranger to any of us. Mr. Jerry Dyer served 2 years on active duty with the Army and the Military Police Corps from 1965 to 1967. He served 2 years on active Army Reserve duty, then another 2 years on inactive Army Reserve duty. Some of the many things that Mr. Dyer has done over the years include 7.5 years on the Oconee County Council, 4 years as Vice Chairman, 4 years on the Oconee County School Board, 2 years as Vice Chairman, served as Chairman of the Oconee County Council Budget Committee, 5 years on Oconee County Local Emergency Planning Committee, 3 years as the Chairman, 10 years on the Anderson-Oconee-Pickens Private Industry Council. He served on the Rosa Clark Free Medical Clinic Board of Directors. He has served 2 terms as commander of the Walhalla Army American Legion Post, has served as District 6 Adjutant of the South Carolina Army Legion Post, has been associated with WGOG Radio of Walhalla for 25 years, and is now in his 28th year as director of the Oconee Veterans Affairs Office. Mr. Dyer and his wife have 2 children and are members of Rocky Knoll Baptist Church, where he is an ordained deacon. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Jerry Dyer.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I really, that was a second best introduction I think I've ever had in my life. I mean, that was fantastic. That ranks only behind an introduction that I had several years ago. Matter of fact, I spoke at one of the churches here in Westminster, and the fellow who was supposed to introduce me on that occasion couldn't be there, so I had to introduce myself. So you can understand where the number 1 introduction comes from there, right? I left my little program on the table there, but one thing I noticed is, as I picked it up from one of the young men and women out in the foyer as we came in, on the very front of the program, it says, we're honoring our veteran heroes. And I thought, man, how appropriate and how true that really is. You know, we toss the word heroes and idols around like confetti many times. And we all have our heroes. For the early part of my life, I thought the sun rose and set in Sandy Koufax. Most of you folks don't know, who is he talking about? Sandy Koufax. And I know you don't know, but some of the older folks here remember him, one of the great pitchers for the old Brooklyn Dodgers and then the Los Angeles Dodgers, and I flat out adored that fella, still do. Saw him on camera at the World Series, one of the World Series games here a week or so back. Still looks like he could throw a great curveball, you know. But he was one of my early heroes, idols, and we all have them. Football players, other baseball players, musicians, and the like. But I want to emphasize to everybody here this morning, especially these young folks, And if you want to pick out a hero to emulate and to adore and to look up to, you find a veteran, and I'm sure most of you have veterans in your acquaintance, in your family, somewhere. You are affiliated with a veteran. You'll never have a greater hero that you can look up to and one of the wonderful men or women who have served our nation in the military uniform of his or her choice. Since 1776, there have been approximately 60 million of those heroes who have done their part, their sacrifice, to keep not only the United States of America, the free, independent country that we have all come to realize is the greatest place in the world to live. Although we're not without our warts. We've got a lot of problems in this country, but we're still the greatest country on the face of the earth and the greatest country to live. That's why so many thousands and thousands and thousands of people are trying to break down our borders to get into this country. They want a little bit of what we have here in America, the land of the free and the home of the brave. Because we're free, the brave men and women who have served our nation. I walked by this gentleman, this young fellow back here, and I've forgotten his name already. But I walked by him a minute ago back there and introduced myself to him. I knew him before. I'd seen him over here before. This young fellow sitting right back here, and I tapped him on the shoulder and turned around. I said, "You look familiar to me." I said, "You look like one of those veterans that I know." He said, "Oh yeah." He says, "I served in Afghanistan." That's his World War II veteran back here, by the way. I said, not Afghanistan. He said, "No," I said, "I really didn't serve in Afghanistan." He said, "I would have if he had called me." A lot of veterans who have been here a long time have told me they would welcome the opportunity to go back and serve this nation again if they were called on to go serve. That's dedication. That's dedication and appreciation for what this country has given them, the veterans. Almost 60 million of them having preserved the freedom for not only the United States, but for the world, where we've been called on to defend freedom. The greatest sacrifices being made, of course, on both sides of our nation in the Pacific and in Europe. Between 1941 and 1945, World War II. 16 million of our heroes served on active duty during that war. 16 million. And today, there's less than 700,000 of the World War II veterans that I'm told are still with us worldwide. Here in Oconee County, you may be interested to know, we have only about 60 or 65 of those greatest generation members still walking among us here in Oconee County. So we're grateful, and we can never repay any of the men and women who've served our nation for what they've done, for what they've offered to do for not only our freedoms, but the freedoms around the world we were called on. I'm glad that the Department of Education in the state of South Carolina has deemed that Veterans Day be recognized by our school systems throughout the Palmetto State. They used to do that. That's something that only came about, I suppose, maybe in the last, 10 years, 10 to 12, 13 years, that the state said, we're going to honor our veterans on Veterans Day. And one of the things that they suggested schools do, and I'm so happy that West Oak Middle School has taken up that mantle and carried it, is to treat veterans in their community to a breakfast such as this. Now, there are going to be events like this going on all across the Oconee County School District here today and tomorrow and Monday. And the veterans are going to be feted and feasted and patted on the back as they should be. But I also hope we will not just take this day, and this day only is the day that we set aside to pay tribute to our wonderful veteran heroes who have served our country. But let's do it every day. Every day. Let's make every day Veterans Day. You'll have all kinds of opportunities throughout the year where you'll be in contact with a veteran. And when you do so, please try to remember, just pat them on the back or shake their hand or give them a hug and say, listen, I just want you to know I appreciate what you have done, what you've offered to do for our wonderful country. They'll appreciate that a whole lot more than any kind of monetary reward they could ever be given for what they have done for our country and what they've offered to do for our country. I mentioned some 60 million men and women have served in our nation's military branches since we first declared our independence back in 1776. Today, some 20 million of those men and women are still with us. But you can find one somewhere and offer him a pat on the back or a shake of the hand for thank him for what he's done for our nation. And again, I want to thank the school district and the school system here at West Oak or Westminster Middle. I hope I didn't get something wrong there. All right, West Oak. All right, West Oak Middle School. Thank you guys for setting aside this time. My time is almost gone. Are there any of you guys and gals, students here who would like not to have to go to class the rest of the day? Oh, good. Well, good news for you. The principal told me just as I came in this morning to take all the time I wanted up here today. So I think I'm just going to filibuster here probably for the rest of the day. I'm sure y'all like to get back to school a lot better than you'd like to stay here now. You'd like to get back in your classrooms and everything. But thank you again. Thank you, folks, for allowing me to come and share with you just a little bit about what the word veteran means to me. Let's try to recognize our veterans year-round, not just on Veterans Day, November the 11th. Every day should be Veterans Day. Let's make it like that. Thank you again for letting me be here this morning. I appreciate it.
Above
asking our students to participate and tell us what Veterans Day means to them. And we have some special guests come in and judge each one, and we select 3 winners, 1 from each grade level. And we have 3 winners this year. From 6th grade, we have Holden Durham. From 7th grade, Riley Hale. And from 8th grade, Miss Mackenzie O'Kelly. And they will come read their essay for you at this time.
When people ask me, why do you honor the American flag, I have a true and short answer that means a lot to me. I honor the American flag because if those people who served didn't, we would not have this beautiful country we live in now. Those who fought, I thank you for my freedom. You all gave back to this country for all of us here today and everyone else. I am proud to say that I pledged to the flag today because of those at Fort McHenry that did not give up and all the veterans that have continued to fight. My heart feels for all who served and their families that support them. I thank them every day for their service and my freedom. When Francis Scott Key wrote the Star-Spangled Banner, the British warship that captured him was bombing Fort McHenry. He heard what the British had in plan for Fort McHenry and feared the worst. He wrote the song while bombs burst in the air. Then later he heard a silence when the smoke cleared out. He saw the bright stripes and stars still standing with people all around it. This was a sign of victory for America and proof that no matter what it took, the flag would still stand. It is true to this day that the flag should stand as victory and freedom for our country and never touch the ground. This is why I honor the American flag and why I always will. I would like to thank all the veterans one more time for what they contribute to this country and my freedom. Thank you.
One flag, one land, one heart, one nation, everyone. When a person puts their hand over their heart and stares at the gleaming red, white, and blue flag that stands before them, they take a pledge to honor and respect that flag. Does this person really know half of what they're saying? Do they even know the history behind the flag? When you're at a professional sports game listening to Demi Lovato sing the national anthem, or Pink at the Super Bowl, do you have the same feelings? It is the same song, but it can mean so many different things to so many people. The American flag is no different. It is a symbol of belonging, of freedom, of a nation, of people, and of sacrifice. As a citizen of this great nation, I know what the flag means to me, but I also like to think about what it means to members of my family. My great-grandfather was a Navy veteran. When he looked at the flag, he thought of how he fought for his country and how it symbolized what he loved. When I look at the flag, I think of all the amazing men and women that suffered and died for this country. I know that when I look at the flag, I'm thinking of them. Just think about that moment where everyone is focused on the flag, where everyone is thinking about all the parents' children who have died, and how so many of them are risking their lives for this country every day. I might not even be here today if all those brave souls had not sacrificed themselves for our country. The flag means many different things to a lot of different people. It is a symbol of faith, belonging, freedom, and love. When you hear the national anthem or when you see brave veterans, what do you think about? The flag is honored and respected when it is raised into the sky. It is held high. People are proud of our flag and are not afraid to show it. In school, we stand up every day to say the Pledge of Allegiance. We have a moment of silence to remember those that we have lost and that we care about. This is how people honor the flag, and it is how I honor the flag.
The American flag is not just a flag for many people, but a sign of unity, hope, and freedom. Veterans Day gives us the American people a chance to honor the flag and the ones who have served our country. Many of the veterans who have served our country are now marching in the ranks of heaven because they were willing to protect our flag and our freedom as a nation. I stand for the national anthem, I stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and I pray that over the world will remain our flag a symbol of freedom for the remainder of time. Many people do not realize what our flag symbolizes, but only see stars and stripes. The stars represent the 50 states of the Union, and the stripes represent the original 13 colonies. The color red symbolizes valor and hardiness. The color white symbolizes purity and innocence. The color blue symbolizes vigilance, perseverance, and justice. All of these traits represented on the flag I believe we can all relate to in one way or another. There have been 26 official designs of the American flag since the first flag was hoisted in 1777 as a new symbol of the United States, with the design of the 50 stars flying out. Most Americans take for granted the liberties we are granted. We are granted as American citizens freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the right to bear arms, and all American citizens, no matter their ethnicity or race, can vote for our leaders, and many other rights that differ us from countries around the world. Many citizens disrespect our governing bodies, our armed services, and our flag. They are the ones who are kneeling for our anthem and are sitting at home not making a difference in this world. These citizens are why I go on my way to stand for our anthem and repeat the Pledge of Allegiance. I thank our veterans for their service and pray for those who have fallen protecting our country and freedoms. Our flag does not deserve the disrespect it is receiving today. Old Glory has been flying high for over 2 centuries, but every day I see people disrespecting the flag and not honoring it properly. Some of these people are my classmates who believe it is funny when the colors are presented. I don't understand how people such as me can act in such a way knowing we have several veterans throughout the school that will go out of their way to help them in any way possible. The current flag of the United States has been flying for nearly 60 years. Although you have the citizens who dishonor the flag, they are overshadowed by the love and respect given to it by schools, businesses, and cities around the nation, as well as the millions of people who you see throughout the country standing up and singing the anthem every day. No matter how many people feel the need to kneel for the flag, you will always see me standing to honor the flag of this great nation.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to introduce the West Oak Middle JJROTC students. For the past month or so, we have been practicing very hard for this breakfast. Our 8th grade students have been dedicated members of the JJROTC for over a year now, and many 7th grade students have joined just this year and already are decking up. Please step forward when you hear your name and the rank of service you are interested in joining. J. Albertson, Air Force. Cole Ashley, Navy. Dylan Burgess, Marines. Morgan Cox, Navy. Timothy Dobson, Army. Elias Ebenhack, Marines. David Ernst, Air Force. Jesse Fife, Army. Shane Hicks, Marines. Logan McAllister, Navy. Raven Norris, Navy. Jacob Renzo, Air Force. Cole Smith, Marines. Mickey Doulis, Marines. Mackenzie O'Kelly, Air Force. Tristan Wheeler, Navy. Thank you.
In Flanders fields, the poppies blow. Between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky, the lark still bravely singing fly. Scares heard amid the gun's blow. We are the dead, short days ago. We lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high, if you break faith with us who die. We shall not sleep though the poppies grow in Flanders fields.
recognized, but he really is gung-ho about this and honoring you, and so are we. And it is a tradition that I think the kids enjoy, and we are so excited how much effort they put in there. And Mr. Holstein, everybody, we got one more round of applause for all the people that put this together. I want to thank Ms. Brock and her cooking staff for the fine meal that they gave you. They enjoy doing it, and I think we're the only ones that still actually cook the food for you. I think you're going to have some caterings later on, which is okay, but we want to do things special. Thank you, Ms. McCormick, for coming. Today we recognize you. And everyone and veterans, you are welcome at West Oak Middle School anytime. Please do not make this the only day that you come and see us and visit us. Come meet with your children, your grandchildren, and your new family, as we all love and appreciate everything that you do. And we welcome you every day and hope that you have a great afternoon and enjoy your weekend and every day from now on. Thank you for all you do, and have a good day.